Hello and welcome along, everybody. For those who don't know me, I'm Amira Norris, Head of Account Management here at Nucleus. And today we're going to take you on a whistle-stop tour of the recent changes we've made on the platform, as well as a reminder of some of the earlier updates we think are worth revisiting. I've got the wonderful David Scott and Anna Sacco joining me on the screen shortly to help. But first, I've got a couple of housekeeping points to run through. You'll see a chat function on the right of your screen. So if you're in full screen, this gets hidden. So you may want to just drop out of that view for a moment. And if you see a register button, please click on that and put your name and address in so that we know that you've joined us. Once you've registered, click on the speech bubble section where you can type in your questions and comments as we go along. We'd really love to hear from you, so please put all your questions in and we'll try and answer as many as we can as we go along. We've also received a few questions in advance, so thank you everybody for those who've done that. You'll be able to see the questions that are being asked in the chat, and you can add a like button to that to vote for those you'd most like us to answer. If you do have any technical issues during the event, you can check the FAQs also on the right-hand side, but you can also drop a note to events@nucleusfinancial.com and one of the team will get on to help you. So unless you're watching on replay, I can assure you that we are all here with you live today. And here are Anna and David beamed in from their homes. Hi, guys.
Hello.
Hi.
As we've got some detailed stuff to take you through today, we've gone with a bit of a classic, here's one we prepared earlier option. Some of what you see is going to be pre-recorded. However, we're not completely putting our feet up in the background, so we will be popping up regularly in between the videos. So to kick us off, here's David with his overview of our latest release.
Thanks, Amira. Hi, everybody. We've got 4 of the best features coming up for you that arrived as part of R21. 4 recordings. Before we start them, I just wanted to let you know that I managed to sneak in the titles of 10 different songs in my 4 videos. And all the songs were done by the same late great artist. So if any of you catch any of these titles, or even better, crack who the artist is, feel free to stick it in the chat box there and you'll get full bragging rights if you come up with it first. But please enjoy. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our R21 update as part of the April user session. What's my name? It's David Scott. I'm a business analyst at Nucleus, and although that may have been covered already, I thought I'd get it in there again, saying as though I'm talking to you now from the past. Sitting here in my barely soundproofed spare room, it's not quite a party up in here, but it's all good. I am delighted and very chuffed to get a chance to tell you all about the improvements that we've made to the platform as part of this release. The release took place on the 8th of March, and there are 4 big things to tell you all about. These include improvements to our phased drawdown and functionality, the change to paying client withdrawals faster using next day payments, a new look contract note with extra information on there, and a range of small web changes that we believe will make your lives a little bit easier day to day. So the first thing to tell you about then is our enhancements made to the phased drawdown functionality. Last year, we did fix a couple of issues with phased drawdown that were around the income validation, maximum income validation, and also we supplied some clearer online statuses which allowed you to see where your request is at. Well, with R21 now, we've improved the disinvestment and income payment process, both of those, and that will bring phased drawdown in line with our existing one-off drawdown process, and it should lead to your clients having reduced out-of-market risk. First thing to tell you about with this is all about the crystallization. That now takes place before any disinvestment does, which if you do need some disinvestment, that will take place in the drawdown account. So to explain a little further, the functionality will look at the pension account. It will check to see if there's enough cash in there to cover the entire crystallization amount. And if there is, that's where it will move over, all cash straight over into the drawdown account. But if it finds that there isn't enough cash to cover the whole crystallization, it will take all the cash it can. Then the rest of the crystallization amount will be made up of assets, and those assets will move from the pension plan into the drawdown. Now, once into the drawdown account, the system will check to see how much do we need in cash to pay out the tax-free cash, and then how much in cash do we need to pay the income that you've selected to. If it needs to disinvest in order to free up more cash to pay those 2 things, it will do so within the drawdown account now and only disinvest for the amounts it needs to make those 2 payments. Previously, before this change was made, the disinvestment would happen for the entire crystallization amount. And so this was not always wanted. Some clients don't want to pay out the entire amount that they're crystallizing, and so you would have some out-of-market risk there for clients. The second thing then to tell you about there as well is the 9-day delay between PCLS and income payments no longer applies. If you did use phased drawdown before, you may be aware that we had some restriction in place. PCLS would be paid to a client and there would be an enforced delay of 9 days before the income would arrive. That's no longer the case, and if you select both those payments to be paid on the same date, that's what will happen. Any client that you have at the moment using phase drawdown, please do go and have a look at the client's maintenance screen on platform. You'll be able to see two dates there, the date for PCLS to be paid and the date for income. If you've got those set to be the same date, although up to this point the client would have had a 9-day delay between the two payments, that won't apply anymore, and the client will now get both those payments arriving into their bank account on the same day. If you've got anything else set up and you would like both payments now to arrive, you can go into that maintenance screen, make the changes, and the changes will take place. Thanks, David. We hope that those of you that use phase drawdown will be loving those changes. And even if you're thinking of using phase drawdown, perhaps you held off before, that they'll be enough to get you on board. For full disclosure, since we brought those changes in, there have been a couple of teething issues with a couple of those improvements, affecting just a small subset of clients who use their whole crystallisation each phase. But we are working very hard to fix those very quickly. And if you have any of your clients have been affected, we will be in touch with you very shortly. Next up, we've got the launch of the next day payment system to get money to your clients faster. The next big improvement launched as a result of R21 is a change to the way we pay your clients their money cash. Those will now be paid using the next day payment system. It replaces BACS, and this change means the funds will arrive with clients a full day earlier than they do currently. At the same time as this change, we also switched our bank provider from RBS to Lloyds, which in itself was a huge undertaking for our teams. Indeed, during the implementation of this change, we did find our delivery timeline slipping just a little as issues with the new provider were worked through, but we got there. So let's get into the detail. The changeover happened on the 12th of April, and so although it wasn't at the exact same time as the R21 release, lots of the background work required for such a big change was done as part of R21. So what does it mean in practice? Well, in short, any one-off withdrawal requests keyed and received before 1:45 p.m. on a working day will arrive in the client's bank account the very next working day. The most common way for you to do this is via the client maintenance page, where one-off withdrawals can be keyed by you. If you key it later than 1:45 p.m, the payment will go into the next day's payment batch and arrive with your client the day after that. The same cut-off time applies for our operations team too, with any withdrawals that they receive via telephone, email or Jira picked up and keyed on the day before 1:45, it arrives next day, and after 1:45, 2 days. One thing to be aware of here are one-off withdrawals made from pension drawdown income. Those still need to go through the PAYE system. That takes a day. They are then fed into the next day payment system after that. The end result is you still have 24 hours shaved off from what it used to be, so from 3 days to 2, but it is something to keep in mind when you do request those types of withdrawals. To wrap up this segment then, we do want to let you know that long term, our aim here is to move to the fully faster payment system, the one we all no doubt use now with our banking apps, etc., with cash arriving in bank accounts within 2 hours and so on. This change here is a huge step towards that, as we've dropped BACS and these next day payments do use the same system as those almost instant faster payments. We wanted to move iteratively here in steps, as of course clients' cash withdrawal security is paramount, and performing the changes in this way reduced the risk and helped us to get our systems and processes more prepared for such a big change. In the meantime though, we hope a prayer or two has been answered with this improvement and that clients will be much happier to get their hands on their cash faster than ever before. Next up, we've improved our contract notes for clients. We've made changes to the way we pool data given to us by asset managers, and it means that we can supply a bit more information to clients on these notes about the trades that have taken place on their accounts. At the same time, we've tidied up the format a touch to ensure it's easily readable. So, what have we changed? Well, wherever there have been fees charged to clients by an asset manager in the process of trading, we'll now specify exactly what those are in respect of, presuming that that information is supplied to us by the asset manager. Before this change, trade fees were only labelled generically as, funnily enough, trade fees, but now there can be 4, 3, 2, 1 types of fee detailed in the contract note. Those are fund manager initial fee, dilution levy, exit charge, and we've retained that generic external trade fee too, as some asset managers do still use this term. As we were going to add this information in, we thought we'd make other small improvements at the same time. These vary and include, for example, column header updates like security has changed to asset name /ISIN. Security was not a term we used elsewhere on the platform or on Nucleus Go, so it needed to go. And our opening line on the contract note too has had the plain English treatment, which again used to mention buying /selling securities. It also described Nucleus as agent. Yeah, that too had to go. So those changes have been made, and let's look at an example now. So hopefully you can see that now, and you'll see that the blackout of the client personal details there is just so that we don't breach any data protection. But elsewhere, you can spot that this client's trades did involve an external trade fee. That column has been added to the right-hand side. Now, it's rare, but if clients do have more than one type of fee applicable to trades, you'll see additional columns placed right there, right on the right-hand side. And then we do have a total fees column too. That will sum up all fees applied by the asset manager. If there are more than one, or even if there's only one there, it will still give you that total. Elsewhere, as I mentioned before, there is that asset/ISIN column, and that much more straightforward sounding opening sentence around placing trades on the client account. By the same token, we replaced the column header at the end of the note. That used to be called consideration, and now it's called net amount. Again, this matches the language that we use elsewhere on the platform and Nucleus Go, so we're very happy to get those more up to date and providing more info than ever before.
Welcome back to the feature, Dave.
Hello. Thanks, Rita. The last video then from me, guys, will cover our regular small web change updates. We aim to include these every time we have a release to the platform. Yeah, please enjoy.
Our final R21 segment is all about small web changes. These are things that can be quickly analysed, drawn up, developed and tested in a faster time frame than our big bang developments. They form a small part of our regular development platform work with Bravura that aligns with our aim to be continuously improving, and as always, to be doing that based on real feedback from you, our users, and also we right here, our staff as well, who regularly use the platform. So how many small web changes can be done per release? Well, the business analysis team here are always trying to get as many of these in each time as we can, but there comes a point when we have to stop being greedy and accept what our developers can do. Luckily in R21, there's more than a few, so let's get into them now. So the first small change to tell you about is that we've made it possible for users to amend a client's marital status on the platform without contacting us. We made sure that changing this wouldn't have any knock-on effects anywhere else, and it does not. So this has been approved for updating by platform users. We envisage this being used in times of errors, perhaps the client record was initially set up incorrectly, or a change in marital status too, like a divorce. It's worthwhile pointing out here that if a client has married, although possible to update the record using this new option to married, any change in surname would still require the usual documentation to be sent in to us. Surnames do remain uneditable. Now let's take a look and see what this update looks like on the platform. From the client's wrap summary screen, you'll know the client's name can be clicked to then view the client's record. Once done, click the pencil icon to allow editing, and you'll now spot that the marital status field is a drop-down option, which you can then change as required. Once you've selected your new marital status for the client, please do remember to scroll down to the bottom of the page and click Save. Next up, we added a commencement date field to the account summary page. This will let you see at a glance the exact date that an account was made active. This happens whenever Nucleus receive and process the signed client declaration for that particular account. Let's have a look at where you'll find it. Okay, we've got an ISA account here, and you'll see we're on the account details view. At the very top of the page, on the right-hand side of the top panel, we've placed this new field, commencement date. In a similar vein to the previous marital status improvement, we hope this will save you time and effort in any times where you previously had to contact us for this information. The next improvement to tell you about sees a change to our Rebalance Today function, again contained within the account details screen. Those of you who use model portfolios in your firms will know this is an often used feature that's been a key component of our model portfolio self-service for a long time now. But what we didn't appreciate until recently was that the term itself was a bit of a misnomer. The request itself does not rebalance the account today, but rather kicks off the trades needed for the rebalance the following day. Given this, and to provide more information around how the rebalance function itself works, we've relabeled it and added a tooltip icon that you can hover over and which will supply you with more information on how it works and how you can set up alerts to keep on top of any times that a rebalance was not able to complete. Let's take a look. So we're here again on the same ISA account that we looked at earlier, and you'll spot that the model portfolio details panel now has that updated label of request rebalance. And if we hover our mouse over the tooltip, the info I mentioned is displayed. Probably worth recapping here that no changes have been made to the function itself. This is strictly just a label change plus the addition of some further information. The alerts function that it mentions is well worth checking out, by the way, if you haven't used it before. You'll get it in the Tool tab, then Alerts, and I promise there's something in there for everyone in terms of being notified for all sorts of account activity. Our fourth change is more of a tidy up, where we've removed a couple of redundant buttons that were no longer working. Both buttons were named Analyze Model Portfolio and could be found in the Model Portfolio self-service tool. The reason the buttons stopped working was because they linked to a service that we no longer use that was provided by Financial Express. And why did we stop using it? Well, because we went and built our own superior version, of course. Let's flip over to the platform again. Firstly, although it's a tad difficult to show off that a button has been deleted from the platform, please believe me when I say that there used to be a button right here named Analyze Model Portfolio, and that it is now gone. It also used to appear just after you created a new model portfolio. As for its replacement, you'll find it in the Tools tab, and it's called Investment Analysis. Investment Analysis is a powerful tool. It allows deep analysis of both assets that you've selected or any of your model portfolios that you've created or have access to. It allows comparison to be made of assets and models, so click the option you need, search for your asset or model, part searches are fine here as well, then select each by clicking them. You should see your selection move below for analysing, and if any of you use our award-winning Narrate tool, you'll recognise that this utilises the same technology, returning results on your model or asset that include holdings, costs and charges, performance, investment growth, trailing returns, top 10 underlying holdings, stock overlap, asset allocation breakdown, geographic breakdown, and sector breakdown. Finally, at the end, you can download your analysis onto a trusty PDF document. Even if you don't carry out analysis like this yourself, it may be that someone else in your firm does, and so please do let them know about this tool if they don't already. It could save them a ton of work. The final thing to cover today is the addition of a couple of buttons rather than a deletion. We've added buttons named View Charges to both the Client Wrap Summary page and the Account Summary page. One click of the button will let you see all of the weighted asset charges being applied to either a single account or across all the assets held in all of the client's accounts. One caveat we do have, unfortunately, is that the function does not yet work when an onshore bond is involved. This means if you are on the account summary screen for an onshore bond and you click it, there will be an error message displayed. And if you click the button at the wrap summary level for a client who holds an onshore bond, again, that error message will come up. We're sorry about that, and we do plan to fix the problem later this year at the next big platform release. Anyway, let's see this bad boy in action. We'll begin with a wrap summary screen view, a client with both a general and an ISA. By scrolling down to the bottom of the page under the complete list of assets the client holds across both of those accounts, now shown will be this new View Charges button. One click will display a pop-up list of the asset charges, and in true Nucleus style, you can of course request to download the list of charges in a PDF format. This one we believe could be the pick of the bunch in terms of saving you time, where before you may have had to trawl through asset fact sheets and or create dummy model portfolios just so you could use this button in the model portfolio section. This is applicable to account summary views too, remember, not just the wrap summary. Who doesn't love to save time and get more info? That's it from me here in the past. It's back to future me now, along with hopefully Amira and Anna ready to answer any questions that you may have on R21. Thanks for watching.
And a quick thank you out to Fiona Stewart from Strategic Asset Managers, who asked us a question on the pre-submitted ones about next day payments. I hope you're as pleased with the update that Dave gave as we all are on it.
Yeah, thanks, Amira. I think just last thing from me, guys. I will say I kept an eye on the chat box there, and I'm disappointed to see no hip hop heads were coming up with the answer to the artist. It was, of course, the late great DMX. But that's all good. Maybe done too well at hiding the song titles there. But the last thing really for me is just attached to that last video, please. We really want to appeal for more suggestions that we can make to the suggestions for improvements to the platform. Small ones, just little things that maybe affect your day-to-day work. And we'd love to take them on. And we promise to keep you updated all the way through from building them to implementation. So please, if you can do that, give your CRM a shout or even send in a Jira using the suggest improvement Jira type. But that's for me, all from me. Thank you.
Excellent. So hello everyone, and thanks again for joining us today. So my name's Anna Sacco and I'm one of the relationship managers here at Nucleus. So I hope you've really enjoyed hearing about all the fantastic enhancements from our latest release, just from David there. I'm now going to be running you through some of the brilliant enhancements from our previous releases, and some of these include some wonderful time-saving features for you all. So hopefully you'll pick up some handy hints and tips along the way, which will make your use of the Nucleus platform that little bit easier. So my content today will cover automated account closures, suspending direct debit payments online, as well as our paperless ad hoc fees process and some of our small web changes. So let's jump straight on into the content. So let's go ahead and have a look at our automated account closure process and how this works. So this process is available for individual clients who hold a general, gross general, ISA and ISA PEP account on the platform. Direct debits and withdrawals are automatically cancelled as part of this process. Any models or discretionary fund manager models are also removed. Any fees due to the advisor, discretionary fund manager or Nucleus are calculated and collected as part of this process. So using this feature, you can select whether to pay the funds into the client's bank account or into another account of the same type in the client's name via our online inter-account transfer process. If withdrawal to a bank account is selected, then any remaining assets on the account are sold down and cash is then paid once the trade's complete. We'll issue the client a confirmation letter when it is a full withdrawal account closure. And we believe that this process is now faster, more efficient, and provides less administration for all involved. Let's now also take a look at some handy hints for using the new account closure feature online too. So the closure process will be delayed if there are pending transactions on the account, so these must complete first. This could be anything from trade to pending withdrawal. So do make sure that there are no in-flight transactions, for example, any direct debits due, withdrawals, and transactions which are due to happen in the next few days. Please also check that the account doesn't hold any flagged assets, so things like suspensions and minimum redemption rules can also cause delays. Do also check that no assets on the account have the exclude from rebalancing flag selected too, as this will indeed hold up the request. If the transaction is successful, we will indeed write out to the client, here's an example of the letter, if it's a full account closure. Now let's have a look at the platform online to see a demonstration of the automated account closure process. Starting from the wrap summary, which includes all the client's active accounts, if we click on the account we wish to now close, using the automated online account closure process, we just need to click on the account type, for example, the ISA in this case. Once this account has loaded, we head to the third option at the top, account detail, and fourth in the list will be the close account option. As you can see here, once that screen loads, it does give a couple of disclaimers just confirming that you are requesting to close the account, and that will sell down 100% of any remaining assets, calculating the fees due to the advisor, Nucleus, and the discretionary fund manager where applicable. We then confirm that the remaining cash value would be deposited to the client's bank account specified, and we know that this can't be reversed. So if you're comfortable with all the information that shows there, it's just a case of hitting close account. And the system will then confirm that this request has been acknowledged. You can at this stage also download a PDF, which just confirms that instruction has been acknowledged and processed. Now remember, if any sales are due, that is taking trading plus 5 working days to complete, and then we'll pay out the funds to the client thereafter. As you can see, a small change there to the system, but this automation just provides a bit more efficiency for you and your clients. Okay, so let's go ahead and have a look at how we suspend direct debit payments online using the automated function. So we've moved this from a manual to an automated process, and we believe this provides improved efficiencies. Please note, we do need at least 5 working days before any direct debits are due to allow for any suspension or changes through the maintenance screen on the platform. The direct debit payments can be reinstated within 12 months, again by raising a GIRA, which should be confirming the amount, start date and investment direction of the payment again. If you do need more assistance with this, we do have our handy regular contributions user guide, which provides further assistance on how to cancel and suspend a direct debit. But let's go ahead and have a look at a demonstration on the platform live just now. Okay, so if we start from the wrap summary screen for the client, which lists all their active accounts, and we head to the second option, account detail, and maintenance, the second option in the drop-down filter. It is from here that we can see all the client's regular money in and money out payments, and also create a one-off withdrawal from this screen too. It is also from this maintenance page where we make changes and suspend direct debit payments. So as you can see here, we've got all the client's listed accounts with any regular direct debit payments showing the status as active. If we now want to go in and suspend these payments or any of these payments online, we click on the pencil edit icon towards the right-hand side of the screen. From this section, you'll see the amount, frequency, and payment date can be amended, as well as providing a full suspension and change to the status on the right-hand side. Once you've made those changes, acknowledging that we do need at least 5 working days for this, just hit save and the system will confirm your changes made. This change should hopefully reduce your queries and need to raise a JIRA to us. So hi guys, really hope you're enjoying what you're seeing so far, but just a quick and important note regarding automated account closures and suspending direct debits online. So with effect from the 19th of April, we have stopped accepting JIRA instructions for these types of requests. So from now on, we'll redirect you onto using the automated online process for these types of requests. If you are in any doubt about how to use the process online, please contact your client relations manager who will be able to assist you further and guide you through this process. So let's now have a look at paperless ad hoc fees and also some of our smaller web changes.
So to use our paperless ad hoc fees process, how it works is a one-time permission is given by the client, either through Nucleus Go or in paper form. The user keys an ad hoc fee onto the platform and the transaction is gated instantly. This is either paid straight from the cash balance or disinvestments are then placed and cash is paid once these are completed. Nucleus will then send a confirmation letter confirming the fee amount onto the client. As you can see, this process is faster, includes less paperwork, and provides an improved client experience overall. So the easiest and quickest way for clients to give permission is via Nucleus Go, and this will take effect immediately. So let's now move into an example of how you would use our paperless ad hoc fees process. Say, for example, you agree with your client that a lump sum investment of £20,000 should be made into their ISA account and an ad hoc fee paid from this. Using Nucleus Go, your client can log in and instantly authorise you to key ad hoc fees onto their accounts. You can now log into the platform and key on your fee via the accounts. If cash is available, this will pay immediately out in the next fee run. If there's not enough in cash, disinvestments are then placed to cover this. The authorisation will then cover all future ad hoc fee payments unless your client cancels this online. Clients can still complete a one-off paper form to cover all future ad hoc fees, and you can then set the fee after we receive this. Using our timelines in the example shown above. So before and now, this is a comparison between using paper manual forms and using our paperless ad hoc fees process. As you can see, we reduced the timescale down from T+5 working days down to T+2. Overall improved efficiencies and a client experience being better overall. The client will receive a notification of the fees paid in the confirmation letter as shown here now. We've now had a look at an example together of using paperless ad hoc fees, but let's now jump into a live demonstration of using the functionality online.
So let's go ahead and have a look at a live example and demonstration of using the paperless ad hoc fees process online. Starting in our wrap summary, which lists all the client's active accounts, if we click on Type to take us into the specific account we wish to take the ad hoc fee from. From here, if we head to the third option, Account Detail, and third option in the list, Ad hoc Fee Request, you'll see this list the available cash and gives you the option to add in fee details and a confirmation. Once you've popped in the amount and confirmed the confirmation, hitting next will just take you through to the last confirmation screen to allow you to process the payment. However, if the client hasn't yet authorised their ad hoc fees through Nucleus Go, then they need to log in, and this will be their landing homepage. If they come across to the 3 hamburger menu lines on the right-hand side at the top and click into the second option for authorisations, this is the section which will give you a toggle bar to turn ad hoc fee authorisations on or off. As you can see here, it's just a case of clicking the toggle box, agreeing to the terms and conditions, and then authorising. Once this has been done, you can go ahead and process as many ad hoc fees as you'd like on the account for as long as the client's authorisation remains in place. Again, as you can see, this amended process is much simpler, time effective, and includes no further paperwork requirements, which is fantastic for you and the clients. So let's go ahead and have a look at some of our small web changes introduced from our previous releases, which include some great time-saving features for our users. First up in our list is improved search functionality. So the N at the start of all our client account numbers is now pre-populated in the client search field on the tab via the platform. As you can see here, the N is already pre-populated, and we just have to add in the remaining 6 numbers for the account number. If you had the account number to hand from elsewhere, you could override this field completely just by cutting and pasting directly into that box. So indeed a small change there, but a great time-saving option for our users. Next up in the list is the ability for our users to amend clients' titles online. So users can now update existing clients' titles via the personal reference record for the client on the platform. And the most commonly used titles are now at the top of the drop-down list to again save some time for our users. So let's have a look at how we would go about changing a client's title online. Starting at the wrap summary screen, if we click on the client's name, which is a hyperlink taking us directly into the client's personal reference record, within the personal details section, if we click on the pencil edit icon, this will then allow us to make changes to the client's title. As you can see at the top of the list here, we've included the most commonly used titles for you to make your changes. Just remember to scroll to the bottom and hit Save Client to record those changes afterwards. Again, a small change there, but hopefully one that you'll get benefits from. Third up in our list is the ability to hide closed accounts and restore those in view of the client's wrap summary screen online. So essentially now, if a client has any closed accounts, these will initially be hidden from view when you log into the wrap summary screen on the platform. These can easily be restored to view by clicking a button, and we'll show you this now on the platform. So as we can see here, again on the client's wrap summary page is a list of their current active accounts. If we wanted to expand this view to show what accounts the client historically had, including closed accounts, we click on this button on the left-hand side here. This then provides an expanded view showing the client's other accounts that they once had, now sitting closed. Again, if we click that button once more, that just restores the view back to active accounts only. So again, this feature does help our users who have been using Nucleus for slightly longer and who are more likely then to have clients with closed accounts. For the last of our small web changes, we've also updated our advisor and discretionary fund manager login emails. With email addresses longer than 30 characters, the platform login invitation email was previously misleading as it looked like the full email address was the actual username to be used for logging in online. Now, this does also extend to some clients as well who have email addresses that are longer than 30 characters maximum. So we've now updated this so that the platform login invitation email is much clearer and avoids confusion. This should hopefully in turn also reduce any queries that the client may have stopping them from completing registration online. So let's go ahead and have a look at what this looks like on the platform. Starting from the client's wrap summary screen, if we head to Account Detail and the Correspondence tab. Within this section, we can search for all types of correspondence over all dates, and we can change that date range filter option too. The title of the letter we'd be looking for is a web login invitation email. So if we click once there and search for that, that will load that particular document for us to look at. This is the email which has now been updated in our small web changes. The username will either be the client reference number or indeed the associated email address. If this is now beyond 30 characters, it will reflect that within the username listed on this letter, as opposed to listing the full email address regardless of the number of characters. So a great range of small web changes there just to round off a few enhancements that we've delivered to make your lives easier.
Thanks, Anna and Dave, for those updates. And I think it's time we started reviewing some of the questions we've had in. Thank you, everybody who submitted your questions to us so far. We'll do our best to cover as many of these as we can. And we have got a little behind-the-scenes panel of experts who are helping us along the way with this as well. So fingers crossed we've got answers for all your questions so far. We'll start off with the pre-submitted questions. Anna, Mark Galloway from Scotia Wealth asked us, is it possible to have an offshore bond show in the Nucleus platform?
Sure, indeed. Great question from Mark there, so thank you very much. So indeed it is possible to show the offshore bond both through the wrap summary screen where it's applicable and also via Narrate for reporting. So this is available directly from going into the wrap summary screen where the bond account will be sitting listed. Then just click on Tools and Reports, and from there you can build a report based on the individual accounts as well as multiple accounts with bespoke reporting components too.
Fantastic. Thank you for that. And Mark, hopefully that answers your question. But if you need any more help, just speak to your CRM or one of your account managers. We've got another question in, Anna, that you might be able to help me with. Debbie Harris from Solomons has asked, it would be good to get some clarity on when documents are needed and when gyras should be raised.
Excellent. So thanks again for your question there, Debbie. Excellent question. So we do have our main Jira messaging user guide, which we'll post a link to in the chat facility here for ease of reference for you. Now, pages 4 and 5 of that document will give you a breakdown on the types of requests that you can sort of submit using Jira messaging. Now, it's worth me mentioning that Jira is our primary method of submitting cases and queries, and it's also a place for a central audit trail. So remember that we do also supplement that now with our e-signatures and scan documentation process, which will give you much more information, on what documents may be required. And those are also available in the platform library. So this all now complements the process of essentially raising your Jira instructions to us. And I hope this answers your question, Debbie, but just get in touch with us if need be.
Fantastic. Thanks for that, Anna. David, one for you now, I think. Robert Thompson from Blithen and Brown has asked, what do the percentage returns shown by Narrate include or exclude, as they do not appear to tie in with calculations that we do based on valuations of the same period? I think he means his own internal review process.
Sure, yeah. I think with this one, it really depends on the calculations referred to. I think on Narrate, we offer both money-weighted returns and time-weighted returns, and each of those take into account different things like premiums, contributions, and transactions. So what we do have to help out with that, we've got a handy user guide that's available on the platform, but in fact, I think also the team here can post a link to it in our little chat here for you all. And that guide gives you really a breakdown into how those calculations are worked out. And hopefully that'll help. But if you do have any other questions on that, please just do give your CRM or your account manager a shout and they can dig further into the data for you.
Fantastic. Thank you for that. And then, Anna, one back to you. Renee Lamchia from Tavistock has asked, why can a top-up not be automatically invested if the funds are received in split amounts despite a commitment being raised? Some clients have limited restrictions on their banks, which make payments when making payments, and it's impossible to know when raising the commitment who will be impacted by this.
Excellent. So really a hot topic of a question, Renee, for us, just given that tax year end, a busy tax year end has just surpassed us. So what I would say first and foremost is, of course, we do rely on the advisor firms giving us instructions for investments. And this is on each application as they have completed the sort of advice process and the risk profiling for investment choices. So we'll never sort of automatically invest, on the payment side of things, unless, of course, you're using the phased investments option, which is a separate process. But our commitment run for aligning payments is based on a 24-hour period. So any incoming payments from our bank accounts, therefore, if they come in over several days, then multiple commitments are required to be keyed. Now, it's worth me mentioning if no commitment is in place, then a GIRA will be raised to notify you of this. But again, we won't place any trades on your behalf. So hopefully this answers your question, but please feel free to get back in touch with us or your client relations manager if you need further assistance.
Fantastic. Thank you for that, Anna. And we've had a question in from Richard Harris from HCL as well. And Richard, we know you're with us today as well because you've posted some excellent questions in the live chat as well. So thank you for that. I'll answer this one for you first, though. So what are the next steps or plans for further reduction of paperwork and some of the long-winded admin steps? I'm really pleased to say that we've been doing quite a lot of work on this in the background, and you'll be seeing some enhancements coming out towards the back end of this year and well into 2022 as well. We are looking to completely redesign and re-engineer our new business process, and at the same time we're looking at every piece of paper that's part of that process to see if we can bring in efficiencies both for our advisor firms and for ourselves internally so that we can make those processes more intuitive. So watch out for more on that coming soon. And I think, Richard, that also answers one of your questions that you've posted for us on the chat as well, but I'll cover them off as we go through them. So that's all these questions we've had pre-submitted. We'll go into the live questions now, and I'll start with a question from Gillian Batty. Hopefully Dave can answer this one for me. Is there any plans to improve the interaction with back office systems? She's mentioned here both links with Iris for transaction history and for e-revenue statements. And I think with Iris she means Xplan. So hopefully that helps, Dave.
Yeah, sure. So we do constantly look at the APIs and our updates for the back office systems. I think we had a little check on this for you just now. It looks like for Xplan in particular, we've been in contact with Iris about that. They've said that they don't have any current developments on the go in terms of bringing in transactions, but we are working with them and we're ready and willing to get cracking on when we can with that. Iris do have another system too. I think Xplan, which is not for advisors. They said that we are discussing, and an update should be available relatively soon. So yeah, keep an eye out. But we'll let you know as soon as we have any more.
Fantastic, and we do have a new APIs manager in the business working with us now, Michael Milner, who's working quite a lot with the back office provider. So hopefully some more news on that coming out over the next few months for us as well. So I'll skip to the next question then, which is from Jenny Feast. Dave, this one I think relates to something that you were talking about for us with the small web changes. Will account commencement date be backdated for existing accounts?
Yeah, easy one. It will indeed. All accounts now on the platform will have their account commencement date completed on there. So whenever that account was made active, that will now be listed.
Fantastic. Thank you for that. I think we've had a few people who've asked some questions on family linking and spousal linking. So I hope if I can cover them all off in one, that might help everybody with this one. Nucleus does offer spousal linking on the platform. So this is anyone who is either cohabiting with a non-married spouse or they are married or in a civil partnership. We will allow you to link them together at the 100 level so that they benefit from large fund discounts as the platform, as their value grows. So large fund discounts kick in for us at 500,000, where the platform fee drops from the standard 0.35 down to 17.5 basis points. And then we do have another drop once it exceeds £1 million to 5 basis points. So they're quite significant discounts we get in as values grow. Those are a manual process for us now. So we will need a GIRA raising to make that request through. And we do appreciate that there is an admin burden on advisor firms to do that at the moment. And it is something that we're going to be reviewing as part of this re-engineering of the new business process. And hopefully we can bring in some improvements to that over the next 18 months or so. But in the meantime, please can you raise a GIRA for that for us? And there's a second question on that. I think it came in from Kimberly about linking trusts. We are able to do that. So as long as you are the settlor of that trust, we'll be able to do a link with that as well. And that also extends to third-party accounts. So if you happen to have a third-party bond, which is holding a GIA with ourselves, or it's same with a SIP holding a GIA for us, we are able to link those as well for you to benefit from the large fund discounts. So if you have any more questions on that, please get in touch with your CRM or your account manager, and we can talk you through it. And hopefully that shows that we've got some direction of travel to hopefully improve that process for you down the line as well. Richard also asked us a question about DFM authority and linking with the DFM as well. That's an excellent comment, and we'll take that back and we'll feed that back in with our DFM providers and ask if there's a way that we can improve those processes. Carol Seller, hopefully I've covered off that question there for you. So the clients do benefit as soon as they go over the 500,000. That discount does come into place. It's done as a rebate to the monthly in arrears. So that's an automatic process in there as well. And Richard, thank you very much for your other comments and feedback on the library. I think Dave's going to take that one forward for us into the development team to have a look at what we can do with that. So the next one we've got then is from Alison Brimage. Anna, you might be able to help me with this one. It seems we are no longer able to unsuspend clients' direct debit mandates via the maintenance screen should they want to restart premiums. Is this correct?
So great question there, Alison. So just to clarify, you can't actually unsuspend a direct debit through the maintenance screen. If you want this to be activated, the way to do it is to raise a JIRA to us, confirming the start date, investment direction and planned amount. And we can get the admin team to sort that out for you manually. So yeah, there isn't the function there for you to unsuspend through the maintenance screen. Hope this answers your question. Thanks.
Thank you. And we've got a couple of questions put in there just as we've been talking. So I'll shout them out. And if we need some extra help, we can call some help in from the team at home. So Alison McLaren has asked, when adding an email address to clients already on the platform, it sometimes asks for additional information as it will not allow you to save, whereby I've had to send in a JIRA for the change. Is there any way around this, getting away from having to do it as a JIRA? I have a feeling this might be related to national insurance numbers. I'm not sure, Anna, if you know about this one, if we need to come back to it.
Yeah, indeed, it does depend on which fields, and the system will prompt you, if there's missing information there, some of which we can't bypass and we should ideally complete, for example, the national insurance number. But yes, the sort of prompts are there really to highlight key and essential information if we've used any sort of defaults or bypassed those fields previously. As you can imagine, just part of the process is trying to make the client reference record as up to date and as complete as possible through that process, really. So yeah, I hope that answers your question as to why, the system will prompt you in such a way to kind of fill in those missing fields.
Fantastic. Thank you for that. We've had a question in from Kimberly. Further to amending titles, would there ever be an option to add a known as field, which could be used on correspondence to the client? That's an excellent comment, Kimberly. Thank you for that. I'll pass that into the team who are currently working on the rebuild of our new business process, and hopefully that's something that we can pick up and take on board. Richard Harris has asked, is there a possibility for clients to pay via card payments as opposed to bank transfer or cheque?
No option at the moment. Yep. It's just restricted only to those two payment methods for the foreseeable. So yeah, no plans to change unless, David, you've got anything else to add on that, but I think that's about it.
No, not as I understand it, but of course, as Amina mentioned earlier, we are having a complete review at the moment of new business in general, and so I'm sure that the payment methods are being reviewed at the same time as that, but yeah, nothing to report on just now, I'm afraid.
Thank you for that, guys. Stacey Critchard has asked, with the accounts closure facility, we have noticed we are not able to close the accounts and put into an existing plan. We are having to bed an ISA and JIRA to then close the account so the client doesn't receive future pence into their current account.
Yeah, I worked on the close your account facility, and what we do have, you are able to close an account and move those funds into another account of the same type. So if you're closing a general, you can move the funds into another general, or if you're closing an ISA, into another ISA. Unfortunately, we couldn't build it into crossover the product types just because of the number of checks that required. For example, how much leeway do you have in your ISA? The assets that are moving from general to ISA can be different. The fund types and stuff, the restrictions that you can have in each type of account. So yeah, unfortunately, that is something we can't do just now. But yeah, what you could do is you did your bed in ISA. You don't necessarily need to wait for a JIRA to then get the general closed. You could, as soon as the bed in ISA completes, get yourself over into the general and close it using that function when it's got nothing in it, and that will close it straight away. Any account balance with a zero will just close quickly.
Fantastic. Thank you for that, David. Renee has asked us a question. Will there be a way to view all clients on a single page instead of doing a search or using a drop down? I think I might be able to help with that one, but otherwise, Dave or Anna?
Yeah, I think my first thought there was really using the reports function. There's a reports tab on the platform, and you can download a report there. There's probably a couple of ones you could use, and maybe client details is probably the first one that comes to mind. That will give you a complete Excel spreadsheet of all your clients in a list, along with other information, along with the refs. But maybe Anna, I don't know if you know if there's anything better maybe than that.
No, I think that covers it. I mean, certainly on obviously the home tab as well, you've got the top 10 or most recently used clients, which is a quick sort of search facility there for clients that you go into. But yeah, that certainly client details would be the best report there for that one.
Yeah, definitely. And depending upon the number of clients that you have on the platform with us, Renee, you can also use a percentage key in any of the search fields as a wild card, and that can bring up all the clients that you have on the platform. So if you just put that percentage key symbol in the surname, it should then bring them all up. But I think once you get over 100 clients, I think it reports back that there are too many records to show there. So that one just works with a small search. You could put the percentage key in a S and it would bring up anything that you've got with the surname starting with the letter S as well. So that helps hopefully with the search functionality for you. We've got a question in from Desi here. Why do you need the ISA declarations when the client misses a year? I think this is the ISA top-up blocker we're talking about.
Yeah,
as I'm aware, that's sorry, Anne, on you go. On you go. It's to do with I'm sure it's the ISA rules, right? I think you must have a new declaration after 12 months if it expires, or you don't pay any tax year. I don't think that's a restriction on our part, is it?
Yeah, it's basically something that we brought in as a protection for advisors to make sure that we're not over contributing in any one tax year. So we make an assumption that if they've done it with us in the previous year, that we know that they've used their allowances and they can carry on with us. If they skip a year, we just want to make sure there's verification that they've not used it anywhere else and made that error. Interestingly, Desi, we are doing some, as I said, we're doing some look at all the documentation that we ask advisors to provide for us. And that is one of the things that causes us quite a large number of gyros, particularly around tax year end, as you would well imagine, every year. And it is something that we're looking quite closely at to see if we can improve something in the wording of our business or elsewhere to see if we can just bring some streamlining into that. So hopefully watch this space on that one is what I would ask. And that's the rest of that question there. And then we have one last question in from Ryan Doran. If a trade is instructed incorrectly, how long do you need to have to be notified how long do we have to notify you before it can be reversed? Not that our firm is prone to this, he points out there. So thanks. So how long do they have to notify us if we need to stop something, Anna?
Yeah, we've got a small window of opportunity to do so before they go to the fund manager. And there is a trading guide on the library which confirms there are essentially different trading points throughout the day. So depending on the particular type of asset that you're using, be it kind of all funds, ETFs, that sort of a thing, we clearly list our times for trading there. What I would say is that the very first run of the day is something like 9:30 in the morning. So if you leave it really if we open at 8:30, for example, and you send us a request through, it's always on a best endeavours basis. So we can escalate it off the Jira, and ask the question of the trading team. But what I would say is there is just a very small window of opportunity, and it's all on a best endeavours basis. So just be mindful of the trading points throughout the day. And if it's within the hour or, two of the next trading point, then it's going to be an off Jira escalation, and we'll try our best.
Definitely. That's excellent. Thank you very much for that, Anna. Okay. And Richard has come in with one more question for us. This time it's on the Narrate CG tool. Is there an ability to add the full amount at the top and split between all the funds rather than going fund by fund basis?
Okay, yes, I think maybe what Richard will mean there is the estimate functionality in the CG, excuse me, where it's giving you an idea of what the CG may be if you were to perform a certain trade. And yeah, it's not available right now, Richard, but it's a great suggestion, and I'll go back to the team with that, and let's see about putting something about that in the backlog for future development. So appreciate that.
Maybe we can put it through as a small web change, although it might be a bigger than small web one, that one.
Maybe, yeah. Those capital gains calculations are not, let's say, not simple.
True. That's lovely. Well, we've got one more question in, and I think I'll take that one as the final question then. From Alexandra Dixon. Is there any plans to change the advisor charges on Narrate, as currently ongoing and initial advisor fee are combined? I don't know whether you're able to pick that one up. I do know that we are doing a complete rebuild of Narrate, which would be looking to bring out in 2022. So that's something that we can certainly feed into it, unless, Dave, you know anything more about that on the Narrate?
I don't. I think my first thought was that we it depends on which part we're meaning here. Sorry, Alexandra. I think that there are there's different components within the rate, and I think the one I'm thinking of, you can certainly see the difference between an initial and an ongoing. They're marked on the graphs, so maybe you're meaning in another place. So sorry for not knowing with the detail, but yeah, please send over your idea there to your CRM or whatever, and we can try and pick that up for you.
And we can get somebody to pick that up for you as well for that. Brilliant, yep. Thank you. And Richard, very glad to see that you're saying you're getting your money's worth today from all the responses. We love all the questions coming in, because that makes it a really kind of valuable session for us as well. So thank you very much for that. And thank you as well, Kimberly, for your feedback on that one. So I think that's everything that we've got time for today. I think we've managed to pick up on all the questions. If you feel we need to just enhance something or help you with anything at all on anything you've asked, please do feel free to get in touch with your CRMs, and we'll pick those queries up with you and your account managers as well. And I think we've just had a note in as well to say somebody's going to be getting in touch with Stacey to help her with her question as well. So that's great. Thank you, David and Anna, for a great run through of all our platform improvements and for fielding all those questions for us. And thank you to everybody who's been watching and tuning in and taking part. We have recorded today's session, so there's going to be a link out to everybody. So please share it with any colleagues who may not have been able to make it along, and I hope they've found it useful. So to everybody else, thank you. I really hope you've enjoyed the past hour and that it was a valuable use of your time. We know you get a lot of inquiries and requests and invites for webinars these days, so we really appreciate you taking the time to join us. And these are very much for your benefit. So please do let us know what you thought of today, and if there's anything else you'd like to see us do in the future. We will be back in June with another user session, and we're planning to have Val and John join us with that as well, just to give us an update on how we've done in the last 6 months with all our development releases, and John certainly to give us that roadmap of all the work that we're beavering away on in the background to hopefully bring some more releases out to you at the end of the year and into 2022 as well. And I have one final plug for us here. We are coming back next week with Illuminate Live, and we've got a brilliant lineup of speakers for you. I hope you recognise some of the faces that are appearing on the slide to the side of me here. We're going to be on at 1 o'clock every Thursday in May, and if you haven't signed up already, you can find all the details on our website, and we'll pop a link in the follow-up email for you as well. So that's all from us. Wishing you all very good health, and I hope it won't be too long before I get to see you all face to face soon. So take care, everybody. Thank you.